Morning and welcome back to the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. My name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning. If you're watching us live on Facebook, thank you for that. And if you are checking us out elsewhere, we do upload these shows to www.livingstonparishnews.com/podcast. We do upload audio and video versions there for you to check out. Excuse me, this morning. And of course, you can also watch any of these shows and older shows on our Facebook page. They do keep those up for you to see at a later date or later in the day if you can't watch us first thing in the morning. Getting into your traffic this morning, I-12 is sort of flowing westbound right up until you get to about Sherwood. You're looking at heavy delays backed up from the 10-12 split all the way back to that Sherwood area. So keep that in mind. It's going to start traffic piling up in other places if that continues. Of course, you're looking at some normal on-ramp delays in Livingston Parish, 4-H Club Road, River Road, and 190. Some pretty good so far. It's still flowing at a normal pace. Some heavier delays on the 190 side. 64 is flowing into Central with some heavier delays on Greenville Springs. Of course, you're looking at your normal school traffic. Delays on 16 in front of Live Oak High School, as well as delays on 16 in front of Denham Springs High School. Some heavier delays on Hatchell Lane. And of course, Burgess and 190 on both sides of Walker High experiencing some delays this morning as these kids get to school. It's currently 71 degrees, 85 degrees is your high today, 54 your overnight low. Mixture of sun and clouds today. It's starting to get cooler, right? So it's going to be about 85 today, 54 overnight. And as we move through the week, Friday, 73 your high, 47 your overnight low. So again, going to get colder as we move through the week. That wonderful fall weather coming to hit us pretty hard, actually. There was an interesting situation at the Denham Springs Police Department. They needed a interim chief for a day, and Mr. Jason Amy got to fill that spot. Unfortunately, young Mr. Amy was diagnosed at about 4 with autoimmune encephalitis, which is a disease that attacks the brain. He suffers from seizures and has to take quite a few drugs. But for a day, he got to be a normal kid, got to have fun, and he was a benevolent police chief as he took over for the Denham Springs Police Department for a day and got to enjoy himself. You can read all about his day at www.livingstonparishnews.com, or it'll be in this Thursday's paper, a full recount of his enjoying day as he got to fill in for Mr. Police Chief Shannon Womack. The Senate Judiciary Committee did begin hearings yesterday for Amy Coney Barrett, who is running for the United States, has been appointed for the United States Supreme Court. She will go through the Senate Judiciary Committee first, who will give their recommendation as to whether or not to nominate or accept the nomination from the President of the United States. That'd be President Donald Trump. Those testimonies and hearings will continue today, but there is an interesting pushback from the Democratic side because things like stimulus packages are not being considered. But this testimony has continued to run, so it's going to be interesting to see where that goes going forward. Of course, Senate in control, or Republicans in control of the Senate, so it's expected to be a pretty easy confirmation after testimony has wrapped up. Getting into your COVID-19 statistics real quick, 172,119 cases. It's only an increase of 63 from the weekend report to the Monday report. So it was a little delayed yesterday on Monday, but after that report was released, kind of a surprising increase, which is not a whole lot. That's a good number to have. Just 63 cases day over day. 5,476 deaths, 2,489,737 tests. I'm going to say that again. 2,489,737 tests. There are 157,873 who have recovered. Of course, that number is updated every Wednesday. 677 hospitalized on 70 ventilators. In Livingston Parish, 3,964 cases, 76 deaths on 42,859 tests. The president's top advisors are pushing for a reopening plan. They expressed this to a media background briefing yesterday afternoon. That'd be Monday. wherein they're going to be focused on congregate settings and heavy testing, basically relenting that COVID-19 is not going to go away anytime soon. While there are reports that are still not substantiated that the virus has become less virulent, less problematic, people are still dying. So they're trying to balance between the fact that it's not going to go away and the fact that it's still dangerous, but looking for reopening of schools, workplaces, and that kind of thing all across the country. Of course, here in Louisiana, our schools are reopened 5 days a week, and most workplaces are back open unless owners choose not to. So it's going to be interesting to see. Of course, we still have things like bars that are closed in certain areas based on percentage positivity in that area. Of course, you have to be under 5% to apply to or petition the state to reopen bars in your area. So it's going to be that's going to be an ongoing progressive thing as we move forward. The governor did extend phase 3 through November 6th, and then basically said until there's some sort of vaccine, does not, I guess you can say, expect much more to change as these percent positivities change in certain areas and they try to reopen their bars. So it's going to be interesting to see how that works out moving forward. But this is coming from the federal level, and it's going to push through to state levels as they try to reopen some places that are still heavily locked down, including, including some of the more populous large cities. So it's going to be interesting to see what the president and his advisors come out with in terms of the full breadth of the plan. This was just a media background before they actually give out details. But again, it's going to focus on high-risk areas, congregate communities, and heavy testing, as well as treatment, trying to push towards reopening things. It's based on many international health experts who are now putting out reports that the heavy lockdowns were did not serve the purpose that they were intended. They caused more economic damage and may not have actually curbed the spread enough to have justified it, is the current line being given out. So it's going to be interesting to see how they balance the two moving forward based on whatever plan they present. Speaking of balance and presenting a plan, the Louisiana legislature and the governor continue to go back and forth over the COVID-19 restrictions. There are a lot of bills moving through both the House and the Senate to try to restrict the state's ability or remove it altogether to enforce these COVID-19 mitigation efforts, as well as reduce the governor's ability to extend disaster declarations, especially with regard to COVID-19. The most recent bill to come out of the House and is now going over to the Senate is one that would limit the fire marshal's ability to enforce COVID-19 restrictions until June of next year. Of course, the ones that are of probably considered the best for or have the best chance to get passed in both the legislature and the House are the ones proposed by both chambers leaders. There's one by Senate Leader Paige Cortez, or Senate President, if you will, that is asking for more seats at the table for the legislature when the governor makes his decision to extend a disaster declaration. On the congressional or on the representative side, House Speaker Clay Schexnayder has proposed that the emergency declaration be suspended for 30 days after the end of this special session, which wraps up October 27th. The purpose of that would be to see, well, what's going to happen if we do remove all these mitigation efforts like mask mandates, capacity limits, and that sort of thing. So it's going to be there's going to be an ongoing battle. Of course, these things go through one house and then have to go through the other. So House and Senate both trying to go back and forth with things that they think are realistic and things in which they think they don't. This is the newest one that will now be going to the Senate for a vote. The House did pass it. Getting back into your traffic real quick, please remember there are heavy delays at the 1012 split on I-12 westbound backed up to Sherwood Forest, so keep that in mind. It is going to cause some bigger on-ramp delays in Livingston Parish. Right now they're about normal. 4-H Club Road, River Road, and 190 are flowing, so that's a good thing this morning. 64 flowing into Central with some heavier delays on Greenville Springs. School traffic pretty normal, which is unfortunate. Heavy delays on 16 outside of Live Oak High School, as well as outside of Denham High. You're looking at heavier traffic on Burgess and 190 at Walker High School. And, of course, Hatchell Lane bumped in between Denham Springs Elementary and Denham Springs Junior High. Traffic pretty heavy there. Currently 71 degrees. 85 degrees is your high today. 54 your overnight low. Mixture of sun and clouds. As we mentioned earlier, it is going to get cooler throughout the week. So you're looking at 73 degrees is your high on Friday. 47 your overnight low. So it's going to be chilly for that Friday night football. One last time, my name is McHugh David, publisher and editor of the news. Appreciate you guys joining us this morning for the Livingston Parish News Morning Show. Want to remind folks that we are on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube. We are once a week in print on Thursdays at $7 a month to get that in your mailbox. We're also online, www.livingstonparishnews.com. We have a podcast page, which is free, a breaking news page, which is free, and a coronavirus page, which is free as well. We do hope you guys have a great Tuesday. We appreciate you taking the time to watch us wherever it is that you are watching or listening to us, and we will see you tomorrow morning.